Hi guys, so we're on 6.9 today. It's the whole page for this first one. So I'm going to flip it to the second and just work on the back to start. So first of all, I'm ordering the numbers from least to greatest. I'm going to zoom in just a skosh here. So some of these we've got easy answers, some of these we don't. When we look, we've got 8s, 5s, and 4s here. We've got 8s and 5s, 8s and 5s. So it's a lot of the same number over and over. So once you find one LCM, it's going to be easier to find the others. So first, I'm going to start by finding the LCM of 8 and 5, and then just seeing if 4 can happen to go into it. Because if so, then I can use the same LCM for these first 3 problems. Remember that the LCM means lowest common multiple, or in this case, we're going to use it as our common denominator. So I'm going to start with 5s, 5, 10, 15. Just using that space up here because I've got some extra. 20, 25. Then going through and counting by 8s, 8, 16, 24, 32, 40. Ooh. So I know 5 is going to go into 40. And I also know that 4 goes into 40. So I'm going to use my LCM of 40 for my first 3 problems. That's why I don't want you to panic when you're doing these and see what numbers are in common. If we look at your homework page, it's very similar. We've got 4, 5, and 10. Then I've got 4, 5, and 10. I've got 5, 8, and 10. 5, 10, and 2. So there's a lot here that you can use the same numbers over and over. So once you get it, it should save you some time. I hope you watch this video because it will make your life way easier. So then I'm going to go through and I'm going to do the math. I don't have a ton of space in each of these problem spaces, so if I need extra paper I can, but I'm going to do them all because I have small handwriting and I'm not panicked about it. So I'm going to start with 7/8. I know I need to multiply it by 1 whole to get my common denominator of 40. Then I'll have 1/4, multiply it by something to get 40. Notice how I'm just setting up all my problems before I start doing any of the math. 2/5, multiply it by something to get 40. And then making my life easier, I'm going to write this one the other way. 1/5. Multiply it by something to get 40. Obviously, once I start solving, I'm going to rotate my paper, but for right now, this is good enough. So I see that 8 times 5 equals 40. Whatever I do to the bottom, I do to the top. And then 7 times 5, 35. And I know I didn't list out all of these factors. I just knew because it ends with a 0, as we talked about with factors. Because it ends with a 0 or a 5, it's going to be divisible by 5, so 5 is going to go into it. But if you were not solid on your math facts, go through and keep writing them. 30, 35, 40. And that way you have it for this moment here. Now, I know that 4 times 10 is 40, and I'm not going to list out all of those because I know my 10s. 1 times 10, 10. Here I've got 8 over 8. 2 times 8, 16. And then, like I said, I'm going to rotate that paper. 5 times 8 over 8. 8 times 1 is 8. So now I have my converted fractions. I have the goal of getting them from greatest to least. So I'm going to list my unconverted fractions, or my converted fractions from greatest to least first. So since my denominators are all the same, I know I can put in 4 lines. 1, 2, 3, 4. And the denominator will be 40 on all of them. And then I'm going to go through and say, okay, well, what's my biggest number? That's my numerator, 35. 35/40 is 7/8. So I'm going to start with 7/8. Notice how I write it right below right away so I don't mess up. If you were using pencil instead of pen, you might lightly do a line through that one to show you've handled it. But I don't think I need to. 16/40 is the next biggest number. I go over to what my original fraction was, 2/5. Done with that one. Left with these two. 10 is bigger than 8. So I'm going to put 10/40, write the original fraction, 1/4. And then 8/40, write the original fraction, 1/5. And that way, I have all 4 of my original fractions listed. And then that's what I'm going to put the box around. Now I don't want to hear, oh, I can't fit it on there. I fit all of my work very clearly, and it's not squished so small that I can't read it. I can see all 4 of my problems. I can see my converted fractions and my answer. Now if you need extra page, go. But I'm just saying, I hear a lot of excuses from kids being like, oh, I can't fit all my work. How did you do that? You just do. You know that you're getting old enough that your handwriting has to be organized. And nice handwriting will be a nice point of pride for you. Nice thing is, these already have my common denominator because we found it for that very first problem. And so, I just entered in my 3 fractions, went through, got those all set up. I know that when I'm doing 5 times 8 equals 40. Whatever I do to the bottom, I do to the top, so I multiply by 1 whole. 8 times 4 is 32. Then I have 8 times 5 over 5. 3 times 5 is 15. 8 times what equals 40? 5. Whatever I do to the bottom, I do to the top. 1 times 5 is 5. So once again, looking for greatest to least. So I'm going to start with 3 lines that all have 40 as the denominator. My biggest numerator is 32. That's 4/5. My next is 15/40, which is 3/8. And my last is 5/40, which is the same as 1/8. I am aware that it is the same as what we started with, but I now have the work to prove that they're actually in order from greatest to least. And I didn't just go, I don't want to do the math. No. I did the math. Once again, moving on to another one that has 8s and 5/5. So, on this one, I would do this one next. Then I would look through, okay, well I know that 5 and 8 go into 40. I know 10 goes into 40. It is an even number, so 2 goes into it. I can use the LCM for this one to also be 40. This one can be 40 as well because 4 goes into 40, 10 goes into 40, 8 goes into 40. Same here. This one, not so much. Maybe skip it and come back to it later. Do 8. Do 9. Do 10. So that way, we've done the LCM for one problem, and we can actually use 40 for 9 out of our 10 problems on this page. This is the only one that you're going to have to look at for the next thing. And that's not even a big deal. And if I were you, I would put my multiples over here on the side so I could use it. I'm not going to keep going because you can see the steps, and I've given you the LCM for those. But that is the basic concept for today.